Hey team, happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm excited. There's already like people over in the chat. Hi chat. Specifically, hi, Scott and Icarus and Dapper Dinosaur and Caleb. I am super glad to have you guys here this evening. So, I am super excited for tonight because we're going into one of my personal favorite conspiracy theories, which is this whole concept that like there's a secret US government thing in Alaska that controls the weather. Because I'm like, I would love to be able to control the weather. That would be real great. But that's not a thing that we can do. So. I think we just jump straight into it. I think we jump. You guys are so nice in chat. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Scott. And yeah, okay, yeah, let's just do this. Let me pull this guy up. I was a good YouTuber and pre set up the stream and all of that. I think I balanced out the audio. This video was like really loud compared to I think how I talk. But I pulled its volume down a bit. So let's see. This video is also incredibly well produced. So he gets that compliment. See, it's like so dramatic. Yeah.
Many of you right now believe that there is something wrong with what is going on around us, and you suspect.
By the way, this was in this video was put out in 2017. So I'm like, oh, buddy, just you wait. Just you wait.
That it is not natural. You suspect foul play. You see, people are supposed to use discernment.
Look, it's gravity waves and clouds. Hooray.
To divide fact and fiction, but yet they turn around and use their imaginations to bring them together. And so now, because of all these theories, they are certain, they are sure these things are being caused by neither God nor nature, but man. See, I do not have all the answers, and I am not always right. But I do know that ever since Haiti was hit with that earthquake back in 2010, every time something bad happens, every time there's some bad weather, people turn their heads and look at things like HAARP.
So I'm just going to pause here really fast, right? Like, you know what? Hey, great points for dramatic narration, right? For great like audio mixing on his end, right? Clearly very good at producing videos. Earthquakes aren't a weather event. Just so you know, earthquakes are caused by Earth's tectonic plates moving. And the weather is, air. And so air and the ground are not the same thing. So that's cool.
They do. The High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program.
Yep. So the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, or HAARP, which is part of, I think the University of Alaska is like in charge of it now. Honestly, like I have a little trouble getting real information about it and not just conspiracy theory stuff about it. But you can read about it on like University of Alaska Fairbanks's website. And what it is this is an array of radars, but they're pointed up. So most radars, right, are pointed horizontal because they're trying to like predict and observe the weather, right, of what's going on down here. But this is a research array, so it's pointed up because it's trying to observe it's trying to observe the ionosphere. So we're trying to get like measurements of the highest level of the atmosphere. And as always, thank you, Boomer You, for popping in. One of the most advanced radar research projects, and part of the dew line that was built up north Yeah. The main research, these have been like, I think they've been like deactivated. They're not actively like, this is not an active research project anymore. But yeah, their radars pointed up so that they can observe the ionosphere, which is very cool for science. But that still doesn't help us. We still can't control the weather. Still not a thing.
People think that they can modify the weather, and they are right, they can.
No.
They can do it, but are
How?
they doing it?
I love that this is the thing, right? This is, they definitely can control the weather, but are they? It's like, no. First of all, my guy, do you think if we could control the weather in any meaningful way, that like someone would not be making bank, like preventing storms from hitting billionaires' houses, right? Like we live in a like a post-capitalistic hellscape. Do you not think that would be happening if we could control the weather, right? Okay.
Well, we're going to take a closer look at this because this is out of control, and I'm not talking about the weather. No, I'm
Ooh.
talking about beliefs held with strong conviction,
Okay.
manifested out of misunderstanding, victims of a great deception.
So dramatic. So dramatic.
People fear what they do not understand. But when people come to a better understanding, that fear begins to disintegrate. Now, HAARP, like CERN and Frankenstein, is one of those things that probably should not have been created.
Why? Okay. There's so much here. There's so much here. Okay.
Like CERN, HAARP is the result of Nikola Tesla's technology. Now, if you didn't know, Tesla was known for having visions of his designs, and it is said that those visions came from the other side.
This is such a better conspiracy theory than I thought it was going to be. I hadn't watched this far into the video beforehand. Um, no, HARP has nothing to do with Tesla. Tesla's super interesting. I've read a biography on him. It was great. Um, uh, and uh, there's some really spectacular conspiracy theories around Tesla. That's like, yeah, his designs were like he saw them in visions from things, right? Uh, uh, yeah, exactly, Dapper. Frankenstein is real, and Tesla got his ideas from ghosts. So, I, I think what he's gonna try to do is relate HARP to Tesla because Tesla like uh it had like I don't know if he actually developed it or just like had write-ups. Really, I don't know if these were built, but like long distance communication by sending like radio waves up through the ionosphere. Um yeah. Yeah. So but no, these are just radars. These are just radars. And Icarus, absolutely. Frankenstein's the scientist, not the monster. But really, isn't he also a monster? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
So let me take you back. In 1884, Tesla sailed to New York City, where he went to work for Thomas Edison.
Okay.
He offered Tesla a great deal of money to improve upon the designs of his direct current or DC motors. And Tesla did just that. But Edison stiffed him, so Tesla quit. He then went to work for the Western Union Company, developing AC or alternating current power systems. The motors I built there, Tesla said, were exactly as I imagined them. I made no attempt to improve the design, but merely reproduced the pictures as they appeared to my vision. And the operation was always as I expected. Now, after Tesla was able to develop his Tesla coils, he wanted to work on his ideas for wireless transmission.
Does he think Tesla coils and AC current are the same thing? I don't know. Wow. Wow, this is a journey. I'm enjoying this.
And so he hooked up with J.P. Morgan, who would put up the money to build Wardenclyffe Tower in 1901, a giant transmission tower based on Tesla's idea of a wireless planet. As soon as completed, it would be possible for a businessman in New York to dictate instructions and have them instantly appear and type at his office in London or elsewhere. He will be able to call up from his desk and talk to any telephone subscriber on the globe without any change whatever in the existing equipment. An inexpensive instrument, not bigger than a watch, will enable its bearer to hear anywhere on sea or land, music or song.
Yeah. Tesla was brilliant.
The speech of a political leader.
Okay, we can stop quoting Tesla.
Picture, characters.
Because he's like...
Millions.
Like, maybe that's a whole, like, cool video of, like, did Tesla predict the internet? Like, maybe, but okay. Oop. Okay, I think we're done quoting Tesla at this point in the video.
The Atlantic Richfield Company, or ARCO, an American oil company, needed to sell gas out of Alaska. And so they financed the project concept of Bernard Eastlund, an American physicist and patent author.
Cool.
Who would create 23 U.S. patents, one of those patents being based on the work of Tesla. A 40 square mile radio transmitter that used a
This is just a radar. Okay. It's just a radar. Okay.
Alaskan natural gas to power its generators. And so the U.S. Air Force and Navy got together with the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, BAE Advanced Technologies, and the University of Alaska Fairbanks to give birth to HAARP.
This sinister music is blowing my mind, and yeah, I don't know how this is related to the gas company. This is great. This is great. What is going on? Okay.
Now that right there tells you that HAARP was in fact intended for military defense and research purposes.
So no, it doesn't, right? Like, I would like to point out that a portion of my graduate research is funded through the Navy, because the Navy has a vested interest in understanding some fundamental science of the Arctic and how does the atmosphere and ocean and sea ice interact. That doesn't mean that because, hey, turns out, team, when there is sea ice, like, real thick, you can't, yeah, and Dapper's putting, you can't sail a ship, right? That's the thing. And Dapper's absolutely right. Turns out people need reliable weather reporting. Weird. So some of that involves, like, if you want to be able to, like, fly your plane or your helicopter in this picture, right, where you need to go safely, you need to be able to forecast weather. That doesn't mean forecasting weather is inherently sinister, right? Yeah, okay.
They wanted to develop advanced.
Do you guys want me to try this on 1.25 speed? Let's see.
Advanced defense and weapons technologies. That's just what the military does.
That is a little better.
That's what they are supposed to do. Make weapons, protect the borders. But
that's guys, look, that's ONR. That's the Office of Naval Research. Anyway, that's like, that's not like for military applications. That's like, hey, we would like to understand weather, please.
They are supposed to do. Make weapons, protect the borders. But even before HAARP's completion in 1994 and after, they have been under pressure from environmentalist and conservation organizations from every angle, with concerns about the safety of the program. Because back then and even now, the scientists there have admitted that they do not fully understand the consequences to using such technology. And so their logic was, well, if we want to find out the impact this will have on the planet, we are going to need to experiment on the planet.
That's not how anyone thinks, I promise. This is like, well, what are the long-term effects of operating a radar? It's like, none. There's none. How do you know? It's like, because I understand the basics of power transmission, but have you done any studies? Not that these are conversations that, like, luckily I haven't had directly to have, but these are conversations that come up when you have when you're standing next to a weather radar, right? Anywho.
Now, HAARP, of course, is just the name of the program. The machine that everyone is familiar with is known as the IRI, the Ionospheric Research Instrument, which is detailed in HAARP's environmental impact statement.
See?
An excerpt of this can be easily found on the University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute website.
With all the sinister music about, like, hey, here's this, like, here's this like open information. And but that's so not at the frequencies that like are used for weather radar stuff. So it's and also it's like such low power that, I mean, yeah, it's such low power that it can't do anything.
The IRI consists of 180 cross-dipole antennas, arranged in a grid pattern of 12 rows and 15 columns, with all the low-frequency antennas stacked above all the high-frequency antennas. Each antenna is supported by a 66-foot mast mounted on a 4-foot steel base, with a distance of 80 feet between each antenna. The entire IRI antenna field, including the perimeter fencing, occupies 35 acres.
Reduced training time.
Okay, well, hold on.
Classes.
I'm sorry, I can't.
On the floor or in the
There we go. Let's do this. Sorry, I have ads.
Acres of land.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the chat. Yeah, so it is true that like the frequency of the radar is proportional to how far away you can look. But, you know, the good news, and then it's also proportional to like the resolution of your data. So usually you kind of have to trade off, like, do I want range, right, in my radar, or do I want really, really, really high resolution? Those are kind of two things you're trading off. And then obviously also cost is a thing you trade off. But believe it or not, when you point a radar up, our atmosphere is way wider than it is thick, right? So when you're pointing a radar up, you actually don't have to look as far. Anyway, okay. Okay. So, boom, yeah, absolutely. Microwave ovens have safeties on them for a reason. But like, and it is true that like weather radars operate generally in the microwave range. But it's actually still, the microwave range is very wide. And so the difference between so if I put, what would I have to do to cook my lunch on a weather radar, right? That's like, I think that's a fair question. So I could go downstairs to like my building, get and go stand in front of our weather radar, or get the mobile one on the truck, start it up, run the radar. And I would, if I put my lunch right next to the power source, right next to the transmitter, well, one, it would melt in the Oklahoma sun well before it got warm from the weather radar, right? But if let's just say I held my hand directly in front of that transmitter, after like 30 minutes, maybe I would notice a tingle, right? So if you feel the need to be, so like I would stand in front of an operating radar all day, every day, and would not be concerned about my health. So yeah, anyway, it's because these are low power, so that also matters. Like the power in your microwave is way higher than the power coming off of a weather radar. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Let's go back to this.
Now, the low frequency antennas transmits 3.2 megawatts of energy in a frequency range of 2.8 to 7.6 megahertz. The high frequency antennas also transmit 3.2 megawatts of energy, but in a frequency range of 7.3 to 10 megahertz. And what they do is they focus these transmissions into the ionosphere, heating it up. It's like using a microwave oven with no door.
It is not. It's not like that. The facility's transmitters send radio waves upward into the ionosphere between 100 and 350 kilometers in altitude. The resulting heating effect creates irregularities in the electron density there, which in turn allow communication signals as from satellites to be relayed off the ionosphere. So when they say that like heating, they're talking about like exciting like atoms, right? So Boomer, I will say that like maybe there's a difference between weather radar and what you dealt with. I'm only familiar with weather radars, and they really are harmless. Anyway. Okay. So I mean, I understand why on this. I'm assuming he got this little diagram here from like the HAARP website. And this resulting heating. I think that's kind of, again, that's like language. The guy making this video is interpreting a lot off of that word there, heating. Because again, you could think of it more as like exciting things there, because there's not a lot of matter in the ionosphere. So yes, this is kind of like exciting electrons making irregularities in the electron density there, which gives us something to look at with a satellite, is basically what that's saying. Okay.
So all that energy is directed out to wherever you point the microwave. At the same time, they can use the high concentration of ions and free electrons in the ionosphere to reflect radio waves. So what happens is they create these virtual reflectors or mirrors in the ionosphere to basically send these transmissions to anywhere on the planet. When they do this, it gives them several capabilities. They can take these radio waves, aim them at the ground, and then read the frequencies that bounce back, a kind of ultrasound.
No, not a kind of ultrasound.
What element.
Goodness, that's just how radar works, right? Radar is just we shoot a signal, because radars always have a transmitter and a receiver. So we shoot a signal and then we sort of measure that signal as it comes back, and the difference in that, how long it takes a signal to get back, and like irregularities in that signal tell us stuff about the thing we're looking at with radar. That's how radar works. Sonar would be sonar is like the same thing, but with, sound waves instead of radio waves. And it says EM pulse. Yes, it's an EM pulse, but it's in like the microwave range. It's not like, this isn't something that's going to like take out transmitters. Okay.
Elements are in the ground, as well as if there are any tunnels or hidden missile silos.
What? I'm sorry. Tunnels or missile silos? No. What? I'm sorry, I have to go back and listen to him say this.
And then read the frequencies that bounce back, a kind of ultrasound. It can tell them what elements are in the ground, as well as if there are any tunnels or hidden missile silos. Ground
penetrating radar team. That's radar that's pointed down. If you point your radar up, you're not looking at the ground. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, honey, no.
Trading radar that can see animals, birds, and groups of insects even.
Yeah, so weather radar often picks up groups of insects and bats because they're small and like the same size. Especially insects are like the same size as the water droplets that weather radar looks for. So we weather radar absolutely picks up insects, but that's not ground penetrating radar, which was what he was talking about a second ago. So you got me there, Dapper. If the Earth is concave, then yeah, okay.
Can use the charging of the ionosphere to act as a global shield. And the idea is, if a missile were launched and it entered the section of the ionosphere that was charged, the intensity of the energy would cause the missile to explode midair.
No. Gosh. No, you can't. Listen, team, like, I can't even express to you how like little material there is in the ionosphere. There's definitely not anything up there that you could like excite to the point that you're going to be able to blow up a missile. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What in the world?
They can even detect stealth aircraft, which of course is not visible by normal radar, but by HAARP technology. Pretty cool, right?
That's also science fiction right there. I'm just going to call that. Wow.
Well, they also discovered that they could manipulate weather.
When did we discover that?
In certain directions.
Absolutely
they could
not.
Excite
what?
a storm system and place that over the enemy to cripple them.
Then why do hurricanes keep hitting the US and costing us billions of dollars? Right? Why don't we push a hurricane over the Middle East? You know what I mean? Like, goodness gracious. Do you know? Wow. Yeah, I don't know how something that is apparently we can just, first of all, we have these fixed antennas. He showed a picture. It's a fixed antenna, but apparently we can direct that signal into the ground, right? We can make it go up and then down, or we can direct it at a stealth radar or at a stealth plane. No idea how we're doing that. Don't know how we're doing that. And like, so you know, this was a few years ago, but our former glorious leader suggested blowing up a nuclear bomb inside of a hurricane to move it, and that naturally turned into a problem on my cloud physics final, which was calculate the amount of energy needed. Guys, like, the amount of energy you would need to affect a hurricane, which is a huge system. It's like 1,000 kilometers across, and it has so much energy in it. A nuclear bomb is like swatting a gnat. It's not even the right order of magnitude. So like, we're going to excite some electrons in the ionosphere and be able to move something the size of the United States? Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? Listen, I want to be Storm as much as the next person, right? But like, I don't want but like, if we had that, do you think we wouldn't be like abusing it horribly? You know what I mean? And Icarus, no worries, that's not a thing that we do. It was a terrible and also dumb idea, and the scientist told him so. Cool. Whew. Whew. Okay.
They can send lightning with enough power.
How?
They can even pump these transmissions into the ground, creating such violent vibrations that they cause earthquakes and volcanic eruptions.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not a thing we can do. Absolutely not a thing that we can do. My goodness. Sometimes I read this stuff and I'm just like shocked, and then I have this brief moment of like empathy that is, how terrifying must the world be to people like this that think that like governments can control earthquakes and summon tornadoes and lightning? It's like, no. First of all, if we could, like, earthquake data is a global database that like anyone can find online if you try. So you can find, the seismic data. So you can go look at like where earthquakes originate from. So if every earthquake was originating from Alaska, right, we would be able to tell. And like seismographs are sensitive enough that that's not like that's information that you can keep hidden, because if there's an earthquake in the United States, every other country on Earth is capable of measuring those seismic waves. That's just so I don't know how we would be like hiding that. You know what I mean? Because there's people that don't like us. They also have access to seismographs. My goodness. Oh my goodness, this is not real.
Which brings us to what's happening today.
What's happening
Folks, we are facing
today?
back-to-back hurricanes. Harvey, Irma, Jose is making its way up the East Coast, and now Maria is headed for the islands. We've got this nut over.
Yeah, hurricanes are really terrible and cost the US alone several $billion a year, not to mention the loss of life and then the loss of property. They're not great. And there is actually, global warming suggests, our best climate models suggest that more like as the earth warms, that will tend to make hurricanes more intense. It doesn't necessarily make them more frequent. But more intense hurricanes tend to live longer, things like that. Okay.
Over in North Korea, a country smaller than New York State, completely surrounded by opposition, pushing buttons, threatening people.
Do you think that North Korea has weather control technology? This is also a fun map. Who made this? And I appreciate that they drew the conspiracy red lines between everything. So, yeah. I mean, you should always trust Christopher Reeves over me.
The very same people who own and operate these HAARP-like machines. So why don't they use these machines on this guy? Well, maybe they have. They did deploy the Navy's SBX-1 mobile sea-based radar weather weapon back in.
It's not a weapon. That's not a weapon at all, guys. It's just radar. It's effectively a camera. Oh my goodness.
2013, near North Korea. So maybe this is why they seem to not be too overly concerned about what this madman can do. Now, the question on everyone's mind lately is HAARP the cause of all the strange and devastating weather phenomena? Well, the military did leave HAARP under the operation of the universities back in 2015, so that scientists could still use HAARP for research purposes on a pay-per-use basis, which is about $5,000 per use. In fact,
that's actually pretty cheap for science.
Do now allow the public to visit the facility during its open houses. So, whatever the military or government was using HAARP for in the past, I do not think they are using it for that purpose now.
Wait, sorry. What is this sign? And where can I get one? HAARP, chemtrails, weapon of mass destruction. Oh my goodness. That sounds like a scary world to live in, but that's not a real place. Wow. Chemtrails are still just clouds. They're just clouds that are caused by temperature differences between jet exhaust and the upper troposphere. Wow.
HAARP 4 in the past.
Oh, wow.
I do not think they are using it for that.
Exposing spiritual mass mind control and planetary assault. Where did you get this image? Where did you get this image? I want to know. I know, Deborah, I know that you could just make this, but I want to know where he got it because I want to know what that person thinks HAARP does.
Purpose now. They have most likely moved on to a similar technology that is more advanced, somewhere else. I mean, they first started running HAARP over 20 years ago, and today this type of technology, folks, is found in different forms all around the globe.
All around the globe.
You cannot pin everything on HAARP.
What? Oh no. Oh no. No, you can't pin anything on HAARP because
That would be foolish. But like I said, I put nothing past the government. But at the same time, I am more inclined to believe that what's happening is ultimately the work of external forces. I'm talking about the sun and everything out there in space. We've recently had several very large solar flares, those photon fluxes hit us. One of these
that's a thing that happens.
flares was followed by the 8.2 earthquake that hit Mexico recently.
Oh my God, honey, no, you can't. Please explain to me the process of how a solar flare would cause an earthquake. How does that work? How does that even work? I mean, we all know that if a solar flare passes, if a wormhole passes directly through a solar flare, then you can time travel because we've all watched Stargate and take that as fact. Wow. That's an intense.
We are always overdue for every major cataclysm, and every year there is record-breaking volcanism, earthquakes, and bad weather. The Earth has been doing this for years now, and we are not living on the only celestial body that has been going through these changes. And as far as I know, they don't have a HAARP on Mars, or on the moon, or anywhere else in
Good. Yes, this is a little bit of logic. Right? Like solar flares hit other places, right? They're the most volcanically active body in the solar system is one of Jupiter's moons. I think it's Io, but I said that out loud in my last live stream, and I feel like someone corrected me, but I didn't look into it. But it's a moon that's being it's tidally caused volcanism. It was definitely Io. Okay, cool. See, I should never doubt myself. I should just always have lots of confidence. Wow.
space for that matter. The only other thing that I think could possibly harness this technology is, of course, orbiting satellites. Know and understand, folks, that every time they fire a rocket into space, every time they launch a satellite or use a satellite, every time they transmit to the ISS, every time they fire up HAARP and CERN, they punch holes in the layers of our atmosphere.
What? Oh, the atmosphere is more robust than that, my guy. It's fine. Also, CERN does not affect the atmosphere. CERN just makes things go real fast.
And Earth has to accommodate for that. It has to fill in these holes.
It does
these
not.
Pockets with
That's
something.
not. You don't need to worry about
human
that.
beings and madmen are part of.
You know what I think fundamentally is happening here is I think he doesn't understand like energy versus like matter, right? That when what something like HAARP is transmitting has no mass, right? It's not cutting a hole, right? It's just moving. Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing, my guy. Okay. That's not how the atmosphere works.
The problem, but I do not think that they are all of the problem. You see, there are many God-fearing people who do not believe that God is at all responsible for what's happening, and they do not believe he would send a hurricane to ruin lives. But did you know that many of these hurricane victims believe in God now more?
Wow, that's a deep conspiracy. That it's going to be someone is causing hurricanes to make people believe in God? Yeah, so chlorofluorocarbons can, so when that gets up into the stratosphere, yeah, so that can, but that's not what this is, right? So that it was having like a chemical reaction that was pulling ozone out. We want ozone in the stratosphere. It's because ozone in the stratosphere is absorbing incoming ultraviolet radiation. So with the less ozone we have in the stratosphere, basically like the more humans are going to get skin cancer. But that's like, so that's a true thing, but that's completely unrelated to anything that's been said so far. So like the ozone hole, that's not a hole in the atmosphere. That's like, oh, there should be ozone here. And instead of that, there's other stuff, right? There's not ozone. Deborah, I don't know about ozone therapy nonsense, and now I'm nervous. Don't breathe ozone. It's bad for you. That's why we want it in the stratosphere, not in the troposphere. I had to have a whole safety briefing on ozone sondes because you have to condition them. So you have to make ozone. And they're like, make sure it's really well vented. It was a thing. Okay. So we were at people are causing hurricanes to make other people believe in God. Oh, I'm sorry. What? These people inject ozone? Please don't do that. Don't do that. And don't take sheep dewormers for that fact. Like, let's not do that, team. Oh my goodness. That's a great way to die.
More than they ever did. More and more people are now turning to him as a result of these happenings. And the Holy Scriptures do state that these things would occur. It just does not state how. Only that they will. The point of all this, folks, is do not focus all of your attention on HAARP and what the government is doing. Because honestly, I believe they know what's coming. And they just want to hide and protect themselves from it. Which is probably why they want to control the elements so bad. And so they are willing to allow everyone to worry about HAARP while the real threat is closing in on them. So, when I see everyone looking in one direction, folks, I tend to turn in the other direction.
Well, that's very cool for your big galaxy brain. That was a journey, guys. We went from Tesla all the way through the book of Revelations, and how clearly every government knows that that's a thing that's going to literally happen very soon. So that's cool. That's not, that was nuts. Okay. So let's see. We've only been going about 45 minutes. We should definitely watch more stuff. So I've got, so let's see. We're on this guy's channel. So, let's go to their channel and see if there's anything else like interesting going on over here. Cosmic change. And let's maybe search his channel. Let's try to stick in like the weather vein, shall we? Okay. All right, let's search just weather. Do we have more videos on weather control? Ah! Okay, yeah, let's do this one. What you need to know about microwave ovens and electromagnetic chaos killing you. Sure. No. We're gonna do microbursts. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. Oh my gosh. Okay. I kind of want to do all three of these. But chat, do we want, give me a 1 if you want microwave ovens, give me a 2 if you want microbursts, give me a 3 if you want chemtrails. And I'm gonna give you guys like a minute. I'm so excited. So 1, 2, or 3, we're gonna do one of these. No electromagnetic chaos. I want to know what that is. Oh, okay. Right. 1. Okay. You know what? While you guys are voting, I'm going to put my intermission up really fast because I'm out of water and it's very hot in my garage. So vote. I'll be back in like T-minus a minute. That's not the button I wanted. I needed this button, and then I'm going to do this one. Okay, and welcome back. And once again, yes, thank you so much to Dapper for my intermission. It looks really cool. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna at least do one, and then we could pop back if there's time tonight. You know, if we're going strong, then we'll do 1 and 2 because these aren't super long. These are like about 5 minutes each. So let's start with microwave ovens and electromagnetic chaos, and see where we go from there. I'm sorry about the ads. Okay, the very cool kaleidoscope.
Okay, let's get down to it, folks. If you're still using a microwave oven, shame on you. I'm not kidding. I don't know how many people are still using these things, but if you are, there's something you need to know.
What do I need to know? In our world, reality is subjective. So truth is stranger than fiction. So dramatic.
You know, you don't have to believe in something in order for it to be the truth. I don't know when this cult following of microwave ovens decided that the dangers of these machines are just myths.
The cult following of microwave oven users team. And almost a doctor. Absolutely. That is, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. So let me do this one. But yes, absolutely. It heats water by making the water molecules spin around. So the wavelength of the energy that's coming out of your microwave is approximately the same wavelength as a water molecule. And so that we're giving energy to those water molecules. It's literally just making the water molecules move. And what is movement, kinetic energy, but temperature, right? A great definition of temperature is a measure of the average random kinetic energy of a system. And yes, this would make great premises to sci-fi B movies. And guys, I am here for sci-fi B movies. They're like my favorite thing. And by the way, so yeah, no, I don't put it in my microwave, but this is making me think of one of my favorite movies of all time is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And there's that time where Cousin Eddie says they had to replace the metal plate in his head with a rubber one. This is why he can't get on the sled, because every time he stood in front of the microwave, he like pissed himself and forgot where he was. So that's all I can think of. Okay, Silver, I'm gonna see if I can't read this with like the gravitas of a Star Trek episode, right? Captain, if we reverse the polarity on the tachyon whistle boosters, we'll be able to fight the electroburst from the microwave into harmless quantus. I dropped that last one. Dropped that last word. Quantus. There we go. That's how I should have pronounced that. Okay. All right. Let's keep learning about the cult following of microwaves.
This is clear evidence that the microwave ovens and the microwave food is making people stupid.
People, that's some great circular reasoning. Like, premise, microwaves are harmful, but people still use microwaves even though they have the same information as me. Therefore, microwaves must be making them dumber and thus proving microwaves are harmful. Wow.
Electromagnetic radiation or frequencies surround all of us daily. There's virtually no escape. In small doses,
Team, it's visible light. Virtually no escape. You don't want to escape it. How would you see? Oh no.
some of this radiation is essential for life, whereas large doses can destroy it.
Large doses at specific wavelengths. Or small doses at specific wavelengths. It's the wavelength that matters.
If you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, microwaves fall between radio waves and infrared. Natural microwaves emitted by the sun are, of course, filtered by our atmosphere. But, thanks to mankind, we virtually live in microwave radiation. Satellites, radar, television, cell phones, Wi-Fi. Microwaves are great for communication, but remember, all electromagnetic radiation affects our bodies.
There's so much here. There's so much here, team. I, I I'm not even quite sure where to start. Um, so microwave is, by the way, by your diagram, my guy, you misspoke. Microwave is between infrared and radio, right? Is this what you're doing? Is this like too much of real life for you? Yeah. Okay. And yes, exactly. Microwave ovens are dangerous if you stick your head in there and don't move. So, anywho, and this is it's longer wavelength, lower frequency, lower energy. Yeah. Okay. So this idea that like all electromagnetic energy is like affects human bodies just is not true. By what mechanism? So because unless something is ionizing radiation is like X-rays and more energetic. So ultraviolet and X-rays and gamma radiation. So what that has enough energy that it can remove electrons from atoms that of the material it's passing through. And then why that's dangerous is because now you have a charged atom, right, or a charged molecule that's gonna like run around and do chemistry, say in your body, where chemistry isn't supposed to be happening, right? And almost doctor, I don't know the cutoff in nanometers in my head, but yeah. Anywho, so that's one way that's like the like scariest way that EM radiation, like so like gamma and X-ray can affect you. This is why you get a sunburn. But then lower energy stuff. So if we're looking at lower energy things, it's not ionizing, so it doesn't have enough energy to strip electrons. The way it can interact with matter still is the wavelength or fractions of the wavelength is it physically vibrates them. It physically like moves. We get some like if it's a conductor, you can get like, move those electrons around. But that's like the antennas on old cars or old radios, right? They were big because they were approximately the size of the wavelength of the radio wave they were catching. Okay. Cool. And Dapper, absolutely. As a like kind of dummy check, if something can cook your food, it can also cook you. So it could probably be dangerous if you don't follow basic safety, or you would have to like actually break your microwave. You know what I mean? Like to get it to be able to run with the door open. Anywho. Wow. Okay.
Radar, television, cell phones, Wi-Fi. Microwaves are great for communication, but remember, all electromagnetic radiation affects our bodies.
Candlelight spitting out that evil visible range EM radiation.
Our bodies already emit electromagnetic frequencies. So what do you think your body is going through on a daily basis when microwaves are hitting it from every direction?
Does that mean that like you can, what does he mean by that? How am I emitting electromagnetic frequencies? Does it just mean that like, I don't know, you could calculate my black body radiation spectrum? Like, what do you mean, my guy?
And if anyone tells you that these waves of radiation are harmless, they are lying to you.
Why? How do you know? Can you prove it to me?
All electronic devices create an electromagnetic field of at least 60 hertz. When anything over 10 hertz will begin to damage the cells in your body. With that said, the frequency inside a microwave oven is over 2 billion hertz. And the smallest leak, usually caused by the oven door, will cause damage to living tissue.
Okay.
But you won't feel it, you won't notice it, because your body is already loaded with toxins and being hit with all types of radiation every day. And since most people...
My body's loaded with toxins? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not sure what he thinks hurts are. And almost a doctor. I'm sorry. I feel like we're killing you more than we're killing me today. Goodness.
place their microwave ovens at head level, well, need I say more? I mean, cell phone microwaves literally cook your brain. When you're talking on a cell phone, it doesn't get hot because of battery. The cell phone gets hot because of the heat coming out of your ear from your brain. And that same...
I'm sorry, my brain is heating my cell phone. That's what's going on. Wow. Wow. No.
Microwaved blood in your head gets circulated throughout your entire body. Your eyes are particularly sensitive to microwave radiation due to the lack of blood vessels and can cause cataracts. Something to think.
So that is true. So in my I'm gonna go stand in front of a weather radar, I might close my eyes, right? Wow. But that would be you have to be in front of an industrial strength microwave emitting thing and just stand there for a long, long, long time. Yes, he just said microwaved blood. That's a thing.
Think about next time you decide to watch an entire movie on your tablet or cell phone. So,
how is it different from watching it on my computer or my TV, though?
Knowing that microwaves can damage living tissue, what the hell is it doing to your food? Well,
it's heating
the
it
alternating
up.
current inside the microwave oven causes friction between water molecules.
What? I'm sorry. The alternating current in the microwave causes friction between water molecules. No. Oh my gosh. It's going to produce electromagnetic radiation. There's a thing that makes electromagnetic radiation, right? And oh my gosh. I'm not even going to explain it because we talked about this already and you guys, yeah, okay. Wow.
Heating the food up from the inside out and outside in, very unevenly. That's why, of course, some microwave ovens come with a rotating plate. The microwaves break chemical and molecular bonds and literally rip atoms apart, changing the structure of the food.
That seems like that would take a lot of energy.
This is why food tastes like crap after you heat it up in a microwave. The research has been done, folks. The evidence is there. Go look at the Swiss scientist Hans Herdel and his research. Go look at the Russian and German research done on microwaves.
Are you going to cite any of those sources? Let's look. No, look, there's nothing in your description. So, cool.
The Nazis wanted to be able to serve food to their mobile military faster.
Wow, we hit Nazis real fast.
So they started using microwave ovens for all their meals. Good idea, right? Wrong. They had to stop using them only after a few days because the men were getting too sick from the microwave food. Eating microwave food, folks, causes all types of health issues and is responsible for many cancers, particularly colon cancer.
Prove it.
And I don't want to talk about nutrition depletion because most of the food we eat today is nutrient deficient before you cook it anyways. Some people cook entire meals, start to finish, in a microwave, right above their conventional.
Please explain to me how causing water molecules friction, right, removes nutrients from food. Please explain that to me.
Oven and stove. People are literally that lazy just to save a few minutes on cooking time. A few minutes. These lazy bastards will actually heat up breast milk and toxic synthetic man-made Similac in a microwave instead of in boiling water.
Well, there's a bold take. Oh.
And then feed that crap to their kids.
You mean baby formula that is necessary for I don't know, women who don't produce breast milk, babies who are lactose intolerant, so you have to make it with soy things. Wow, are we just gonna okay?
I won't even heat up my coffee in a microwave oven. It
Why?
kills the water. Yes.
What?
Water.
How do you kill water? How do we do that?
Has energetic properties that change once you put it through a microwave oven. The water becomes useless. You can't even grow vegetation with that water.
Prove it.
Now, there are several devices that you can attach to your cell phones, laptops, and flat screen TVs, and some that you can wear that will help neutralize the EMFs hitting you.
We're going straight to shilling. That's cool.
I encourage you to look closer at these devices to see which ones are the best due to the fact that there are many manufacturers. But really, the best thing to do would be to take that microwave oven outside and smash it to bits with a baseball bat. Trust me, folks, you'll look better, feel better, and by God, your food will taste so much better.
I love that he seems to think that like you're gonna consume the microwave radiation like from microwaved food somehow. Ooh. Yes, but I'm from Oklahoma. I'm born and raised, right? Like we're very polite when we're mean. Anyway. Ooh. Well, yeah, like let's not microwave metal. That sounds like a terrible plan. And you can use a microwave like a shrinky dink with like a bag of chips. Anyway, so that was fun. And by the way, Almost a Doctor, if you want, I have the first video we covered linked in the description, and it was pretty easy to find this one. And I'll try to remember to link it in the description after the broadcast is over if you want to do more than just a react video. Anywho, okay, yeah. So, we want to watch that next one. Goodness, this is entertaining. I think we'll watch microburst video and go on from there. But just very briefly on what a microburst is. So this is a real weather phenomena. It's a real weather phenomena where sort of what happens is like all of a sudden all of the precipitation that's stored in this cloud falls out in one place. So raindrops are kept in clouds by the updraft, right? So we have air that's going up that's keeping these rain droplets up in the clouds. And usually the way a rainstorm happens is like we have this pretty consistent updraft. It's keeping all of these raindrops aloft, but then as each of them gets too heavy, they all start to fall, and that's how we get rain. But think about what would happen if you suddenly took that updraft away. Now I have all of these raindrops in the cloud, and then they all fall all at once. So that's not, it's not uncommon. It's not the most likely thing to happen, right? But downburst, it's a very normal natural weather phenomena. But what is a little crazy is that you can get this just insanely localized damage. I know I'm really sad that this channel has like 473,000 subscribers and I'm sitting at like 2,000. I mean, I'm super happy to have 2,000. It's taken me a long time to build up to that and I'm really proud of it. But like, I'm like, anybody that thinks that like people who are taking the time and the energy to put out good science communication on the internet are like getting, that NASA shill money or whatever. We're clearly in the wrong line of YouTube work. Okay. So let's take bets on the chat if microbursts are going to involve ghosts, because HAARP did, but microwaves didn't. So, we're 1-1, tall tied up.
Our planet is under threat.
Oh my gosh, okay. Here we go.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
And sometimes it's scary.
There you go. That's a downburst. Yeah.
We are living in a time where the Earth, the entire solar system, is undergoing some radical changes. Because of these changes going on underground and above our heads, we are caught in between, experiencing some of the most bizarre weather events of our time.
In our world, reality is subjective. So truth is stranger than fiction. I do like his music.
Ladies
Hey,
and
it's
gentlemen,
HAARP!
we have on our planet a bunch of madmen. And these madmen are...
And mad women. You know, and probably a few mad non-binary folks, right? Okay.
doing things that should concern you. We have machines like HAARP all over the world that blast
All over the world?
electromagnetic energy into the upper atmosphere, heating it up. There are multiple particle accelerators around our planet producing massive amounts of unstable energy affecting both the Earth underneath them and the atmosphere above.
But how, though? Again, there's an episode of Stargate that deals with that, but Stargate is fiction, no matter how much I love it and have based my life off of being more like Samantha Carter.
There are chemicals being sprayed into the air daily. There is a huge number of volcanoes erupting beneath the ocean, heating it up like a stovetop.
Which is how crust forms. So that's fine. That's not new.
Burner heating up a pot of water, causing dramatic changes in our atmosphere.
No, it's not.
Look at the
Oh,
US.
no.
They are constantly manipulating the weather patterns,
How
moving around clouds and neutralizing storms.
How are we doing that? By the way, this is a forecast from NOAA. Let's see. Temperature probability. Okay. Yeah, it's probably plotted in anomalies. So like red means warmer than normal, blue means colder than normal is my crazy guess. I'm trying to like read that. I'm trying to 4-day outlook temperature. Let me back it up. There we go. Oh, no. That's a 14.
Causing dramatic changes in our atmosphere. Look at the U.S.
Okay. 8 to 14 day outlook, temperature, probability. Okay, so that's probably is looking at blue areas are probably cooling and red areas are probably warming, would be my guess. And this is also like very, very, this is a very normal pattern. There's nothing interesting to me about this. Yeah, okay.
US. They are constantly manipulating the weather patterns, moving around clouds and neutralizing storms. So while one half of the country is cooling down, the other half fries.
Oh, that's what he thinks this means? My guy, this is just, first of all, look, this is like 50, 60 degrees here. And then let's actually read it. Hey, look, there's the isotherm. There's 50 degrees here, right? This is, yeah, no, okay.
There are waves of energy coming from the sun in deep space that are affecting the atmosphere of the Earth. Not to mention
well, that's true, but that's just how the sun works and the atmosphere.
Of the Earth's magnetosphere, which protects us from the sun's radiation and other cosmic rays.
That's true. Oh my God, he got something right. Good for you.
So, as a result of all these things and more, we encounter yet another strange weather phenomenon.
Keith, that was a static forecast product that was produced in 2018. So okay.
Phenomenon. Rain bombs.
Rain.
Now.
So these microbursts are sometimes referred to as rain bombs. They're kind of crazy. And it actually, like, the biggest thing would be like proving to your insurance that just your house was destroyed by the weather and not the houses around you. But yeah, it's a well-known phenomenon. It's not new.
Okay. What in God's name is a rain bomb? I know it sounds silly, but let me explain. It is literally as if God were pouring out a bowl of water onto the earth. And when this rain bomb hits, it hits with the strength of an atomic explosion. These are called wet microbursts, which are rare, or they were once a rare occurrence. You see, when a thunderstorm travels and runs into a dry patch of air, that dry patch of air sucks the moisture out of the thunderstorm. Now, when this happens, the air underneath the storm...
It's actually not a terrible explanation of what's going on. Like, points. He's going to think that, like, someone is causing this, but, you know.
Cloud cools down, making it heavier than the air around it. So the cool air begins to drop down, and fast.
Yep.
Taking a bunch of water with it. Now, when the water hits the ground, it pushes the surrounding air out at speeds over 115 miles per hour.
So it's not, it's not the water hitting the ground that does that, but it is like, this is the atmospheric dynamics, right? So this is called divergence, right? So if I have air suddenly moving down, it hits the ground, it has nowhere to go other than out, right? And so this is a lot of energy being all dumped in a small location. So think of it as like all of the energy and moisture of a thunderstorm that should, say, move slowly across a state for several hours, right, is instead all dumped in one location. So you can absolutely get 100+ mile an hour winds on the outflow boundary. Yeah, so that's cool.
At a distance of over 2 miles.
Sure.
Just last month, the Empire State Building was hit with one of these.
Cool.
Virginia, Texas, Australia. I thought these were rare occurrences. Now,
do you know how common rain is, though? It's rare relative to how a storm normally progresses.
The media is going to try and make this look like something natural under the right conditions, and use this scientific explanation to get you to leave the topic alone, because it's been explained already.
Cool.
But even if the scientific explanation is true, they're not telling you the cause. They're not telling you what's coming in from outer space.
Did anybody have aliens on Conspiracy Theory Bingo tonight? Wow, okay.
They're not telling you what's going on underground. We keep breaking records, folks. We're breaking temperature records, earthquake records, volcano records, tornado records, flood records, fireball records. Human beings can't possibly live on a planet where every year these records are being broken.
Fun fact, might I interest you in some climate change? Still working on that IPCC report video. Sorry, it's taking a while, team, but I'm really trying to like dig into it, and school just started back up, so yeah.
What's going to happen this winter, folks?
I don't know if we're breaking earthquake records, though. I don't know. We are certainly breaking temperature records.
What's going to happen next year?
Are you kidding me? Rain bombs. I mean, seriously, folks, you can't make this stuff up. I'm a little disappointed that he did not give us a concrete, like, how are we doing? How, please explain to me how I make a like large mass of dry air that I can move around at my whim. Please explain that to me. How does that work? Oh, I appreciate your pun. Yeah. Planet's heating up. So I will say this. This is reading the IPCC. So I've seen some other like YouTube titles and things that's like reading the IPCC report, and guys, it's worse than we thought. And then so I go and I start reading it, and it was like, oh no, this is exactly as bad as I would thought. We should probably do something about it. Right? Like this isn't, the data actually hasn't really changed. It is a little worse than we thought, but it's still like within the old error bars, right? Like the averages I think have shifted a bit. So it's like, no, it's bad. Climate change is bad. Global warming, still bad. We should do something about it. Should have been doing more about it over the last 30 years, but okay, cool. Well, team, that was an adventure. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys are great. Please do. I think some people might have accidentally or been auto like unsubscribed because I've normally I see my subscriber count it goes up by like 1 a day or so. But I like lost several really fast. So, you know, if you're subscribed, please just like double check and see that you're actually subscribed, because I know sometimes YouTube freaks out. Please do like, subscribe, leave my videos on, especially my live streams, on in the background when you sleep to get me view hours. You guys are really cool. Tomorrow there's going to be a Weather 101 video released. It is on potential temperature. Potential temperature is tomorrow. Sunday will be static stability. So that'll be great. And then I think we've got Guns, Magic, and Steel on Monday. I think I'm helping out Dapper with some Matt with Maddie on Tuesday. Live stream again on Wednesday. So yeah, you guys are gonna see a lot of my face in the next week, and I'm excited about it. So hooray! Happy Wednesday, and I will see you guys. I'll see you guys here next week. Okay, bye team.